before handing over to Duncan, I just want you all to know that myself and my fellow directors feel passionately about supporting our Food 1200. Unlike a cooperative, we are, let's put it this way, a cooperative is there for the benefit of its members, whereas our food exists for the benefit of the community it seeks to support, namely the citizens of Monmouthshire and the Brecon Beacons. The future of a vibrant and resilient local food economy is more than just about finding growers and landowners who wish to collaborate and work together. Housing is a key issue that has to be resolved if our collective vision is to be realised, and this requires the engagement of local authorities and other housing providers with a will to make suitable, affordable accommodation available as near as possible to the place of production. Our Food 1200 will be tackling other big issues, including creating properly paid and secure jobs, effective local supply chains, collaborating in some cases with existing local outlets to empower a diverse community of producers and consumers, including families, businesses, and public services such as schools, hospitals, and nursing homes. We want to ensure that everyone, regardless of their circumstances, has access to fresh, nutritious, and above all, affordable local food. That's at the heart of what our Food 1200 is all about. Enough of me. I hope you all find this next 90 minutes interesting and rewarding. And so over to you, Duncan.
Thank you, Adam. I'm just going to briefly explain what the project is and the invitations that we're making to people across the region and beyond the region. So the first thing I'll answer is why 1,200? Why 1,200? The idea behind that is that 1,200 acres of this kind of the production that we are proposing would be enough to supply everyone who lives in the region, everyone who lives here, with seasonal fruit and vegetables. So that's where the number comes from. But the main intention is that it's a big enough number to create a really vibrant local food economy that opens up new market opportunities to all farmers and growers in this region. So it's about building a new local economy, a new outlet. It's difficult to access the local economy for any individual farm, but if we build it collectively, it opens up possibilities. And local, we mean people who are living here, but also local nearby cities, Bristol, Newport, Cardiff, Hereford. These are all, as far as we're concerned, local. So there's a big market that we can access. We're proposing regenerative agriculture, and I'll just say a little bit about that. I'm not going to go into this at great length. Regenerative agriculture is farming that has as an explicit aim to actively improve the environment, the soil and the biodiversity, for example. And to do that, these farms mimic natural ecosystems on the farm. So, for example, healthy soil. If you've seen healthy soil, it's dark, it's waxy, it's full of worms, and home to billions of organisms and huge fungal networks. It fixes enormous amounts of carbon and it holds enormous amounts of water. So it contributes to climate change action, and it also protects against both floods and drought. And the good news about this kind of agriculture, if it uses modern techniques that focus on efficiency and productivity, is that it earns a decent living. It creates about one job for each acre, and 1 acre can feed about 80 families. And selling locally keeps the profit in the food chain local, near with the farmers or very close to them. It's more resilient in times of when the food supply, the global food supply is insecure, as it is at the moment. It builds community between those who grow the food and those who buy it. So there's a real human connection going on within the local economy. And as I mentioned before, it opens up markets for all kinds of new, all kinds of farmers, because it creates trading, it creates box schemes and local markets and retail and all the other things that anyone can use. So we're making 4 invitations. The first invitation is to farmers and landowners. We're inviting farmers to consider diversifying their own businesses. And if they can't do that, to lease land to people who want to start a business, a small farm. What we will do, we will assess offers of land. We'll create a very simple 1-page profile and publicize that to a UK-wide network of people who are seeking land to farm. And we will then provide ongoing help with leasing arrangements and ongoing advice if that's needed. Growers will pay the going rates for leasing land. This is not a charity in that sense. And we have, since we launched about 10 days ago, we've had a really great list of offers of land, some quite substantial. So we have got a lot of work to do in the next few weeks to go through them, visit them, make profiles of them. So that's what we'll be doing in the next weeks. And in future, our Community Benefit Society could buy land on behalf of the community through community shares. That's happening all over the UK, and we will learn from the best examples across the UK about how to do that. But we won't do that immediately. We're starting with matching people who have land with people who are looking for land. The second invitation is to land seekers, that's what we call them. We're seeking people who do know what they're doing already. We're not complete beginners. We're not a training organisation. They need to be able to demonstrate that they know what they're doing and that they can produce a business plan around a particular piece of land. There are networks of these people across the whole country, say, for example, through the Land Workers Alliance or the Soil Association. We do have a fantastic regenerative horticulture course right in the middle of our region at Black Mountains College, which is absolutely fantastic. And we really want to offer their graduates opportunities to stay living here and stay farming here. So that is a fantastic partnership. And we will show land seekers the profiles of the land opportunities in our region, and we will invite them to go and make direct contact with the landowners and get to know each other. It's a personal relationship between the two. We will also invite them to join an existing network of local growers and farmers, which will give them local vital knowledge, and also, and this is important, friendship and support during the time that they're setting up their business, because it's tough. It's tough. We know that, we've seen it, and you need a lot of support when you're getting going in the first place. And then we will, in future, work to help those growers as they arrive and start with all the things that are there to stop them. There isn't enough housing for them. Planning permission and regulations need to be reviewed. We need to set up startup funding mechanisms and so on. There are a lot of barriers because the local food economy has basically been obliterated in the last few decades. So we have to rebuild everything at the same time. And that's why this is such a big undertaking. The third invitation is to existing growers, of which there are already a growing number. We have applied to the Welsh Government for funding so that they can build collaboration between them. It's important for small businesses to collaborate in order to be competitive in this sector. So that means joint purchasing of supplies, joint marketing to build the overall market share, online sales, joint deliveries, joint supplies to schools and other public bodies, joint investment in things like decarbonisation, electric vehicles, and also links with local food banks. So there are lots of things that can be done jointly, and we'll be building that. And then the last invitation is to residents. And we can't do this as a top-down initiative with a small group of people sitting or in their studies at home or wherever. We have to get out there. And so what we're proposing is we're asking residents from all the towns and all the villages in the region to become advocates for this, to talk about it locally, to organise local meetings in the pub early evening, and we'll turn up and have a talk. That's how this is going to work. It's very, very bottom up. So that's what we've explicitly invited people from all over the region to do that. That's it for me. I've done that. There are the 4 invitations. Thank you, Adam.
There is a couple of questions that have come in. One was, will there be any support for would-be landowners who have no or little experience? I wonder whether, Duncan, you have mentioned this in your introduction, but maybe you could just very quickly respond to that.
So is that people who own land who have not experience with leasing, or people who are moving onto the land?
There's would-be landowners.
So that's people who, I'm assuming that means people who are moving onto the land to farm it. What we think the best way, because it's already happening, to support people is to connect them with the existing growers. There is a network of growers. They are constantly helping each other with absolutely everything. They work on each other's farms when they're building a polytunnel. They discuss everything. They share information, and so we think that's the best way to provide support, is basically to facilitate a network, and then anyone coming in can then just ask the people who really do know how to do this, rather than experts up there somewhere. So that's basically how we do it. It's a community approach, really, and it's already fully operational. I mean, it's working a lot.
Great. Thanks. I've got another one here just before moving on to Stuart. Is what is the optimum area needed? Does it need to rotate around the farm, or does it rotate within itself? And how is fertility maintained? FYM ? I wish I knew what FYM meant, but I'm too old and stupid. I just wonder whether, again, that maybe it comes back to something that Adrian and Jim were talking about, and whether you can quickly respond to that, gents.
Yes, I mean, the issue of scale is a question of market. And I think that it's very important not to grow anything speculatively. You know, we've all been there and done that. And I think obviously we'd love to see a really vibrant local food economy backed up through local processing hubs, and maybe using dynamic food procurement and local authorities actually looking to source, you know, local food to kind of give a leg up to the marketplace that's independent of mainstream retail.